beast! Hands off the Middle East! I'm the baby of the beast! Hands off bloody tea! David Lamb, shame on you!
Gaza. Donald Trump might wipe his hands and say, job done, move on. It's not. For the people of Gaza, the horror show continues, albeit on a slightly different scale. So yesterday in Parliament there was a question to the Foreign Office about the whole situation there. A number of us raised very strong and very pertinent questions. I asked once again about the continued supply of weapons by the UK to Israel, which can and are being used in Gaza. I asked about the overflying of Gaza by the Royal Air Force from the bases in Cyprus, and I asked about the security cooperation with Israel. I was told that there is a reduction, but not an end, in arms supplies to Israel by Britain. I was told that the overflying has now ceased because, in their words, the purpose of the overflying has now finished because they claim it was only about finding the hostages that were held. And since the hostages have now been released, then there's no need for it. If you believe that, you'd believe anything.
We're standing here today because the criminal Zionist entity of Israel has continued massacring our people, violating the ceasefire agreement that was supposed to come into effect 21 days ago. Shame! The Palestinian people have always known that the end goal of Zionism and of Israel is to destroy every neighborhood, every hospital, every school, every university, every mosque, every church, every home, every pillar of Palestinian life. Shame! And the UK government is a partner in these endeavors, supplying weapons and sustaining genocide against our people. Shame! The UK government attempts to distract us and dampen our resolve by recognizing Palestinian statehood. But recognizing Palestine will not end the starvation in Gaza. Only lifting the siege will do that.
We want boycotts, we want sanctions, we want justice.
But where do we go after genocide? What goes on? Is it the Gaza Riviera plan? Is it Tony Blair's extraction? Well, I can tell you what I've seen from other genocides and what we need to ensure doesn't happen. Bali, the site of 1 million murders of Indonesian communists, is now a tourist paradise where white girls, like me, can go do yoga in skimpy outfits. There is a hot dog stand outside Auschwitz. And in the village that my family is from in Bosnia, there is now a boating lake, which was used as the site for mass graves in the 1990s. We cannot let this be the future of Gaza. We cannot let Gaza get turned into memorial sites and tourist traps for people to bow their heads and wring their hands and go, oh, how terrible was it? How terrible was it? As we all know, in 30, in 50, in 100 years, everybody will have always been against this. Your friends who refuse to say anything will turn to their children and go, I thought it was terrible at the time, but what are they doing now? What are we all doing now?
My name is Emily Stevenson. I'm a member of Na'amod, which is a group of Jews in the UK seeking to end our community's support for Israeli occupation and apartheid. And I was here today speaking on behalf of the ever-growing Jewish bloc in light of the recent ceasefire violations in Gaza. The night before last, 104 people were killed in one airstrike that was done by the Israeli military, and the Israeli military are claiming that the reason they're violating the ceasefire is to preserve the ceasefire. Obviously this is untrue. It's because they want to further ethnically cleanse the territory of Gaza so it can be under entirely Israeli state control. You know, there are no more living hostages in Gaza. They can no longer continue this genocide under that false pretense that they were ever doing it out of any care for any of the people in the Strip. And now they can just be nakedly genocidal. So there's been a new global petition put out called Jews Demand Action. This petition is addressed to Antonio Gutierrez, who is, I think he's the head of the UNHCR, and it calls upon governments across the world to end all complicity with Israel's genocidal treatment of Palestinians. That includes ending all arms sales, calling for states to put meaningful sanctions upon the state of Israel, not just sanctions on individual settlers or ministers. It means making sure that war criminals, Israeli war criminals, are held to the same standards as other war criminals are, and that they are prosecuted under the full extent of the law via the ICC and ICJ. And also it means ending the instrumentalization of anti-Semitism. We saw with the murder in Heaton Park, the bodies of those men that were murdered weren't even cold in the ground before our government was using them as an excuse to limit our rights to peacefully protest in the, in solidarity with the Palestinian people, which I personally think is disgusting. They obviously don't care about us, and they certainly don't care about Palestinians. And this petition, it's not even been out for a week. 10,000 Jewish people globally have signed it. And some of these signatories include people like Eric Andre and Wallace Shaw and Jonathan Glazer, who directed Zone of Interest, Hannah Einbinder, Ilana Glazer, the comedian, Eric Andre, Wallace Shaw, and Zach Polanski, the leader of the Green Party. I was a pre-launch signatory. And it's about standing up and making our voices heard, that we will no longer be used as a tool by this government in the UK and by governments abroad to cloak their naked consent for genocide.